Hey everybody, I'm Forbes Riley and I want to say aloha. I'm in Hawaii today. And I also want to say thank you to the organizers for doing such a great job of putting this whole summit together, to all my other speakers, and to focus on the concept of recession proof. You know, before I start, I just want to share with you that I'm not in Maui, although I had a ticket to go to Maui the day before the fire started, and some little bird, something said to me, go to Kauai and change your plans. And I did, and I'm here. So I am safe, but I am reminded every day that we are insanely grateful, that you know at no point ever do you take life and your liberty and all the other things that you enjoy for granted, and to just pray for the people in Maui. There was a lot lost, and there'll be a lot to be found, because sometimes when things burn to the ashes, like for many of us, we've gone through personal tragedies. I know I've had my share. For me, wow, I will start at the beginning and share with you how I had a very odd childhood and how I came to what I believe is the recession-proof skill that you need to master, okay? And I will give that to you outlined, and I've got a free gift for you if you stick around to the end of this little talk. I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to get right to it. So I grew up in Long Island, New York. I grew up talking like this, right? A tough little kid. And I was cute till about 7 years old. And then we noticed that I had a very strange jaw, like my teeth were all going in different directions. There was something wrong and it needed to be fixed. It was going to take a lot of time. And so my parents and the orthodontist put me in a full set of braces at 7.5. And then it wasn't getting better, so they put me in this thing called a tongue thruster. And for 2 years, I talked like this. Well, I was already an overweight kid. My mom was overweight my whole life. I had big frizzy hair. At 8 years old, I walked into a baseball bat. I had a broken nose, and I'm talking like this. Nobody wanted to be my friend. I had a very lonely, awkward childhood. And don't feel bad for me. Turns out that life happens for you, not to you. And I'm going to get to that in a second, that you don't get to feel bad. All the things that you've gone through, come on, you are the sum of the obstacles that you've overcome. It's easy to win. People go, oh, I won. But when you lose, how do you handle that? How do you deal with it? What do you learn from it? And so for me, my whole life has been, what life lessons do you pull out from what happens to you? Because life happens for you, not to you. It literally happens for you if you have this mindset that all the things, good and bad, doesn't matter. They all have a reason for being. You get to discern what that is and move forward, or not. Not everybody moves forward. So I am grateful that at this age and this time in life, I have learned, fortunately or unfortunately, a whole lot of lessons. Oh, crazy, right? Well, the crazy thing for me is that when I was about 15, my dad, who was a printer, a magician, and an inventor. Also, not a very popular conversation. I was a little girl who did magic tricks. Oh, yay for me, right? And he slipped. He invented these printing presses, and one day he was leaning on one. He slipped. He cut the whole front of his hand off. And he would then spend 3 years in the hospital, 15 operations. What did that mean for me? It means I was a high school kid who didn't go to football games or baseball games or proms. I went to the hospital to see my dad almost every night to have dinner and hang out with him. But funny enough, one of the things that later became apparent to me was my dad had a corner room. He was there on and off for 3 years. And it overlooked the only mansion in my small hometown of Oceanside, Long Island. You couldn't see it from the street. It had all these big trees in front of it, right? But I could see these giant red brick mansion with a giant circular driveway and 2 chimneys. And I was fascinated with who lives there. Who, you know, what kind of Christmas is, what Halloween do they get full candy bars? And I'd seen enough movies to imagine what life must be like that. And then I would go home to our tiny little 1,000-square-foot house, very cramped, very small, but full of lots of love. And so one of the things that I've learned as a life lesson along the way is that money, while it's nice to have and it does matter, it comes and goes. But the love relationship you create with yourself, with your family, your kids, your parents, that really does matter. And I was lucky enough to have 2 parents who thought that I was just, the world began and ended with me. And that was a real important part of my story. Because when I was about 15 years old, I was in my dad's hotel room, his hospital room, and my mom and I are saying, she turned to me and said, kiddo, we don't have any money for college. We just did the math, we got the applications, and we can't do this, and they're not going to give us enough funding. I'm not sure what you're going to do. And then she said, as an aside, but there's this beauty pageant. And I'm like, Mom. She's like, yeah, I know. We both knew what I looked like. She said, but they're giving a full scholarship. It would be great, but all right, I don't know what we're going to do. Well, the funny thing about that, and that laid the foundation for my entire mantra about life. Dream it, believe it, and achieve it. You've got this idea in your head. You say it out loud so other ears can hear it, and you set on the path and a blueprint to achieve it. Well, my dad's doctor overheard this conversation. He'd already felt pretty bad for us. And he says to my mom, I'm going to fix your daughter's nose. No charge, just fix it. What could that mean, right? I was 15 years old. Okay, and back then it was not a very popular thing to fix somebody's nose. But all I know is 3 or 4 days later, when I woke up, I looked in the mirror, and a miracle happened. The first of many. There was a really cute little girl looking back at me. Who knew that just one little nose could make your eyes bigger and your smile brighter and your cheeks look better? And I looked at her and I thought, I've never seen you before. I knew you were inside somewhere, but you could win a beauty competition. At least I thought so. And so on pure faith, I entered the competition over 3 weeks of rehearsals and auditions and meetings. And I won in a hand-me-down bridesmaid's dress because we couldn't afford anything else. I became Miss Teenage New York, and I went off to Miss Teenage America pageant with Bob Hope on NBC television, the start of what's going to be an incredible career. I just don't know it back then. In fact, that week that I was there in Tulsa, Oklahoma was the worst week of my life. Who knew, right? Sometimes you get what you want and then it doesn't turn out that way. Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, it turns out that my accent was not appreciated. Y'all have the funniest accent. At least that's my best Tulsa, Oklahoma, and from Georgia and all the other places where they just wanted to be beauty queens their whole lives. And they're like, but your accent? And I'm like, well, what accent are you talking about? I don't have an accent. And all of a sudden I became this tough New Yorker. And there were a couple of other things in my little portfolio about what religion I was or what else I believed in. They asked all those questions back then. They never met anybody who came from where I did. I was only 16 years old. It hurt so bad. And I left there with a sense of what diversity and inclusion must mean. Now, this is a long time before it became a popular woke concept, but I will tell you, I've been living, preaching, and walking this walk my entire life. So my conclusion for you is that you are, in fact, at birth, given a deck of cards. You're given a hand, right? Probably about 5 things that you ultimately can't change. You can't change your height. You can change your weight. You can even change your face, but you can't change your skin color. You can't change the boy-girl thing wherever you are in that spectrum. You're at some point, you choose one, or, right? You're that. What else can't you change? You can't change your age. You don't get to be younger or older. You are that age at this moment, right? And so you look at that, and some of you are very, very frustrated. Well, I'm this and I'm that. Well, let me tell you something. It's not the cards that you are given. Because people who look like you, who are your age, who are your gender, are doing very different things from you. Well, how is it for them? It's not luck. Luck is just preparation meets opportunity. You create your own luck. You want to be recession-proof, become resilient. And so I learned some of these lessons. One of my students is 3 feet 8 inches tall. She's Chinese. Her name is Candy. Beautiful, beautiful woman. But she didn't know that. Because as far as she's concerned, her dad threw her away, wanted nothing to do with her. People told her that she was a midget and she's not good for anything. And she came to me for coaching in that state of mind. And we shifted this. We said, Candy, let's look at the cards you've been dealt. The crazy thing about your height card, you can't change it. But you can use it to your advantage. And this is what I learned with the cards that I've been given, how to use and leverage them to your advantage. And I said, people everywhere want to be noticed, want to be remembered. You can't help but be remembered. I will never forget her. And something in her sparked and said, you know, maybe being different is my advantage. She's now a top Zumba instructor, and people just adore her because she adores herself. Up until that moment, she didn't like herself very much. I had another woman that I trained who was born with a disease called NF. And that causes tumors all over your body. You probably have never met anybody who's got NF because they don't go out of the house. She, a beautiful woman, but she had a tumor on half of her face. Do you know what she's doing now? She's modeling. She's taking photos. She's found a sense of self-esteem. These are the cards that she's dealt. And she now represents a whole group of people who choose to be quiet because we would shun them. We don't want to know that even exists. And she's giving that whole different ability, a face, a name. Christine, one of my best friends, confined to a wheelchair for muscular dystrophy. Biggest smile you've ever seen. She recently became Miss Wheelchair. I think it was 2019, right before COVID hit. One of the greatest joys ever. I knew this girl from the time she was little. And I just looked on her and loved on her because to me, she had the best smile ever. And I thought, how come she's smiling? She's got so many things going on. I have days where I don't smile and I've got everything. Or so you think, right? So I encourage you, as we're moving into this concept, what does it mean to be recession-proof? To look at the cards that you cannot change. That is your hand. How you play your hand is your choice. How you choose to speak, think, act, react, that is all within your choice. How fit and strong and healthy you choose, that's yours. Whether you do drugs or smoke or drink, all of your choice. You don't get to go, woe is me. You get to go, whoa, this is me. What am I going to do with it? And moving forward, the skill that I think that we all need is something that I've perfected over my professional career. And it's the art of the pitch. Now, what do I mean by that? I don't mean that you get up there and go, hi, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm going to sell you something. No, you know what pitch is? Pitch is a way to interact with people, to get them to want what you have. So I started out as an actress and a television host. I started everything from the X Games to my own talk shows. I've done 195 infomercials. I have grossed in my career $2.5 billion. I know, it's crazy, right? I love all that. But I just wanted to be an actress. So all this was like a day job. Well, one day I auditioned, and it was sell me this pen. I'm sure you've all seen that, sell me this pen. And it was on a piece of paper right in front of a camera, and I thought, oh, I don't like to sell. I mean, when you don't have money growing up, selling is very awkward and uncomfortable. But I looked at all the other actresses, and I thought, you know what they're probably going to do? They're going to look at that camera and say, this is a pen, it sells for 19 cents, it's yellow, it's got a soft little squishy thing, and it's got black ink. And I said, what makes you different? What would you do different? And I leapt off a cliff, which I'm known to do, and I looked at the camera just like I am now. And I said, funny thing about pens. You know, I was little, 16 years old, I was already in college. I'd skipped a year of high school. And I was very nervous, and my mom used to write me these long motivational notes every morning. I'd race to the mailbox, I'd rip it open so I could feel close to her. You know what I realized? A pen like this can reach out and touch somebody's heart. And I thought, okay, that'll be that. But no. Jake of Body by Jake Seinfeld walked out from behind the camera, grabbed my face, you're going to make me a lot of money. I had no idea what he meant. For the next 5 years, he had started a TV series, a whole network called Fit TV on this thing called cable television. And I hosted it. And I presented every health and wellness and fitness product of that era for 5 consecutive years, over 1,500 products. He didn't teach me, there was no onboarding. I just innately understand what it means to pitch. How I have something and I'm going to get you to want it. And then I had people say, well, why don't you teach what you know? Well, at the height of my career in my mid-40s, I had these 2 beautiful little babies living in California. Life is great, making tons of money pitching. And I got a $100,000 contract. I brought it to my agent for a job. And a couple of days later, he calls me. He said, hey, got some good news, got some bad news. I said, okay, let's start with the good news. He said, they love you. I said, of course they do. I'm good at what I do. I'm printing money right now. He said, yeah, so here's the bad news. Like, okay. They want somebody younger and less expensive than you. And I found it for them. Well, wait, you did what? This is my contract. He said, yeah, but nothing. He said, no, the good news is they want you to teach this girl how to pitch. And I thought for a second, I said, well, excuse me, as soon as pigs start flying, I'm not teaching anybody how to do this. It was so deeply insulting. Can you imagine being 40, told you that you're too old? In Hollywood, it's just such a hard town. I'd already been rejected for all kinds of other reasons, but this was painful. And I made a declaration to myself and the universe, I am never teaching what I know. I got it, I'm going to keep working it for myself, and you don't get to have it. And I selfishly closed that door. Well, fast forward another 20 years, and COVID hit. And my daughter, who is homeschooling along with her twin brother upstairs, said, hey, Mom, let's build an online company. You love teaching pitch, you love doing this, or you're good at pitching, you should teach it. I said, I don't want to teach it. She said, no, think about this, Mom. Infomercial's not a big thing anymore. You're not really doing it very much, but you could have a legacy coaching other people to do this skill. It would really change people's lives. And I thought long and hard about it. She and I sat down in a room for 3 weeks, and we put together this first this training. And turns out she's an internet digital marketing genius. We talk about leaping off a cliff. On a Wednesday night, we did a little class. We charged $19 a piece, and I was selling a $1,000 program. The next morning, I opened up the bank account, and I said to her, what does the K stand for? She said, what do you mean? I said, well, it says here that we have $25K in the account. She said, Mom, you grossed $25,000 last night. That means everybody in the room bought your $1,000 program. You're in business. Who makes 25 grand on their first day in business? I did that every week for 4 weeks, and a little 17-year-old and her mom made over $100,000 in just 4 weeks. 6 months later, we hit 1.2 million. Am I pretty proud? Yeah. I'm not only proud of her tenaciousness and her belief in me and the passion we have for this thing called pitching that we teach day in and day out. But it's now been 3 years, and it's a multi-million-dollar company. She is 20 years old and the CEO. Turns out I work for her because I'm the pitch queen. And I'd love to give you just a couple of insights here on how you can recession-proof what you're doing. When I talk about pitching, and please go get a pen. Yeah, I'm liable to say something genius. I want you to write this down. Pitching. It's not about selling. You pitch every day, all day. Pitching is a lifestyle. It is not a thing that you put on like a suit. Let me show you my pitch. I pitched you since the moment I started this conversation. What was my intention to pitch you? That you would love me. How'd it work? Now, I know that's crazy, but that was my only intention. I'm not here to really sell anything. I would love you to reach out to me, find me on social media and say, hey, I want to know more about your pitching programs. That would be great. But I have a free gift for you. It's a great way to start. If you go to ForbesRiley.com, there is a free, beautiful 5 strategies for an amazing life, that handbook there. And then all the way to get in touch with me, just ForbesRiley.com. In fact, I am starting a live boot camp on Monday. And this is a crazy opportunity. And I'll tell you why. Again, I don't want to be selling anything, but I do want to let you know what I'm up to. For 5 days live, I'm going to teach. It's $100 and you can bring a buddy for free. Yeah, it's not a big, and the money from that we're probably going to donate to somebody because I make a lot of money doing my other side of my business. The reason I charge for something like that is you won't show up for the 5 days if I don't charge. There's going to be hundreds of people from around the world there, and this pitching skill, even if I gave you all my principles right now, it's only going to take you so far because the secret to pitching is practicing. The secret to most of anything in life, whether you're a piano player or a sports athlete, you got to practice. See, you spend time doing whatever it is that you do, whether you're a life coach or you're a teacher or you're a yoga instructor like one of my dear friends, or you're a fitness guy like my husband, he's a bodybuilder. You do that all day, that's great. But if you're not getting your programs and your courses and your message out to other people and they're buying it, what are you doing? That's the anti-recession proof. You can have a great product but no one knows about it. You are broke. I don't believe in broke. I don't believe in broke mentality. I don't believe in broke physically, and I don't believe in broke financially. The time is now. There is a time, and by the way, recession proof, you got to wake up and think, what do I do right now? How do I pitch what I do so I can get investors, I can get students and clients and friends to want to do what you've put your heart into? That is my goal, my dream, my mission is to help be that transport from what's in your head and your heart out to the world. And of course, the other exchanges, you get paid for it, you make money, you're happy. Maybe you're in Hawaii like I am. I've been here for almost a week and a half. Yeah, it all takes a little bit of money. So you're writing something down about pitch. The 3 E's is where I want you to start. You got to be exciting. People pitch me all day long and they are boring. They're bored by their pitch, they're nervous, they stutter, they say all kind of words. No. You got to look at the person you're talking to, look right down the barrel of the camera, know in your heart what intention you want to achieve, and then be excited about it. Be passionate about it. Nobody wants to be bored. That's one of my first E's. The second E is about engagement. Let me ask you a question. Do you think I'm talking to you? Well, I am. And I can see you. I can see you sitting in the chair at your desk. Someone's in their bed. I can see all of you. That's the cool thing. Now, I can't really because I'm not technically on Zoom. This is pre-recorded. Right? But I'll tell you what, I can see you. I've been talking to a camera my whole life. I know who's listening. And I know that you need to be talked to authentically. You need to see the options. You need to be loved on, and then you'll take action. At least that's my belief about life. When you are engaging, so I just judged a big television show. There's a series called 2-Minute Drill with David Meltzer. And we took Zoom pitches. We took 6 of them. A winner on each show won $50,000, okay? I'm new to all of his world, but I'm not new to a Zoom box. And I will tell you, there were some good products, there were some okay products. This was not called a product show. This was not about investors. It was not Shark Tank. It was called 2-Minute Drill. The best pitch wins, right? Well, I will tell you, there were people up there, they're going to be on television, it's a killer opportunity, and they read their pitch like this, and you could see their eyes and their hands moving, and I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? You don't know what you're selling? You don't know what you're talking about? They read their pitch? Oh my gosh. Big cardinal sin is because you think that pitching is getting all the words right. Well, if I don't mention that 51% of the people, that's not it at all. It is about a human connection. It's about me exciting you because the last E is enrolling. Is to get you to buy into whatever it is that I'm doing. In the old days, it was get you to buy a Jack LaLanne juicer, to get you to buy a Snuggie, or even a Chia Pet. Think of the crazy things they used to buy from television, all because we were exciting, damn engaging, and then we enrolled you to take out your credit card. That, to me, is the perfect pitch. All right, there's a couple other things that is it okay if I gift you? I know I have a couple more minutes. One of my other big rules is that when you get excited about what you're doing, and you know why you do it, right? You're passionate about it. You can't wait to tell people that you need this product. You need this new vitamin. You need this. And it's like people go like, whoa, back up. Have you ever been approached by a network marketer who's not very successful? And they kind of throw up on you. Well, you could be doing this and you could also earn $10,000 a month. You're like, stop. They give pitch a really bad name. Knock it off. That's what I would say. So here's the thing. To be exciting, engaging, and enrolling, you have really got to understand nobody needs anything, okay? We don't. We don't buy what we need. We buy what we want. Okay, so if you know that, your job then becomes to get the person to want what you have. So let me talk about my boot camp for a second. Why would you want to spend 5 days with me? Forget the price. Because you're going to want to up-level your communication. You're going to want to network with people around the world. You're going to want to understand how to clarify that message. And if you knew that 12-step system that I have created, it's kind of like a Mad Libs, and you filled it in and you worked it and you practiced it, it's like, can I say this? Like shooting fish in a barrel? Yeah. I mean, it's as simple as if I asked you, what do? Do you have a really good answer? Well, that's the doorway to everything. I just had a woman I was coaching, and she said, well, I don't want to be asked what I do. I want to be asked who I am. I thought, no, you don't, because that's not how it works. When people ask you what you do, they technically don't even care what you do. They care what you can do for them. I bet you didn't think about it that way. Who do you respond to when you're at a party? You respond to people that you connect with, that you have a relationship to instantly. So if you are working for an airline and somebody says, well, I'm an actress, maybe not the right fit, but somebody says, hey, I'm a pilot, you would connect to them because you're on the same wavelength. You know, life coaches, what is it that people need from you? Great. If somebody's got a personal problem or they're depressed, oh, well, that's great. You know, as somebody who is a life coach, I find da-da-da-da-da. There's so many unique ways to do this. And here's the crazy thing about pitching. If you do it right, you will always be able to make money. I once said to somebody, look, if you drop me in the middle of nowhere with $1.50, I'll be just fine. Because I know, this is what I do, how to pitch people to get me the food or the shelter or the things that I need. I was a coach on one of their shows recently called The Undercover Billionaire. And to watch how people interacted. We put billionaires in an environment where they were not comfortable. They had a cell phone, $100. How are they going to do it? And all three of them thrived just fine because they've got ingenuity and they understand the art of the pitch. If I dropped you somewhere and you had nothing, what would you do? Would you be able to convince someone to let you stay in their place for free or borrow their car or loan you $100? That's all pitching. And then pitching comes down to getting your kids to clean their room. I have secrets for that. Or to get your husband to take out the trash or maybe massage your neck. All of those are pitch secrets. I would love to share them with you because not only is it recession-proofing your life, but your wallet, and it's recession-proofing your overall being. You should never be in a lack for anything because as I'm looking at you right now, that you do have greatness within you and I can see it. Please stop playing small. Please stop struggling. Take the deck of cards and realize that the 5 that you're holding in your hand, they're yours. They're not changing. But how you play them, how you play the game with other people is in fact the secret to life. I can't change how tall I am or the color of my skin, but I can change my attitude. I can change my intention. I've certainly changed my financial status from my parents. And I do that for people just like you. I have this feeling that life does happen for us, not to us. I'm so grateful that you're taking a moment out of your busy day to listen to what I have to say. If it touched your heart, if you choose to implement it, I would love you to reach out to me. Simply go to www.forbesriley.com. I put a free gift into the big bag and the raffles and all the other things that we're offering care of this event. And to all the organizers, my heart is yours. Thank you guys so very much for hard work. It takes a lot to put this together, and I assume you did a kick-ass job. Bye. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, everybody.